Hey, folks, guess what? End stream. Yes. Hey, it's me again. Yeah, it's an earthquake. Not really. It's just me bumping the computer. Yes. If it looks very familiar in this background, it's because I'm in my studio. Actually, that's my living room back there. Becca is uh, is somewhat of a great designer and what do they call them? Interior decorator. Yes. Did she go to school? No. That's okay because school can bring out stuff. It can't give you no talents. Guess what? So I'm not, as you can probably tell, a proponent of our educational system. Uh, do I have a degree? No. Uh, I'm 6 hours short of 2 degrees because I got a job offer that was made me more than I could ever make at the degree that I was going to get. Which was in economics, in fact, finance and economics, with a minor in business. Yes. Guess what I found out there? That if you ain't owning a business, you're getting a business. So that is why of course, I'm independent and I'm a rebel, and I refuse to be a really good employee. I'm not a bad boss. Because I know how crappy it is to be an employee. And so I take really good care of my employees. But I found out early in life that they may have a lot of money, but they ain't gonna give you none of it unless you do something for them. You're not making them money; they ain't keeping you around. And that includes the government, unless somehow the big wigs up there that have this whole thing shut down now, unless maybe it's at this thing where we might go, we may not go, but they're all just pissing in the wind. Oh, excuse me, I can't say that. No matter what side you're on, we're getting ripped off. It does not matter where you go in the world. Whether you look at a democracy or you look at a socialistic world or you live even in a communist, there are the rich and there are the poor. Here in America, at least, we have a middle class. There's a semi-middle class in, I may not say that. Anyway, you ain't gonna get rid of the rich. Guess what? So the only choice we have is to get a piece of our pie. So here we are again. And so I'm an avid reader. I love to learn. I don't like to sit in a classroom because really by the time you get through with the class, you could have learned it all on the internet anyway. And unless you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, accountant, that kind of stuff, even I think a lot of them could do better if they just learned on their own. Anyway, you do much better as a tradesperson. So one of the recent books that I've read, and the reason that this is titled For Men Only, is because I knew if I put For Men Only, women would watch it. Isn't that cool? We live in that kind of society, right? Because it's all about us. Anyway, the book that I'm talking about is this book right here, and it's probably upside down and backwards, but it's called The Masks of Masculinity. It's written by Lewis Howes. Now, Lewis Howes is a premier trainer right now. He started the School for Greatness. He's big on the internet. Love his stuff. Young, hasn't quite lived through the world yet, but he's learning. He's maturing. The great thing I liked about this book is that we all live masked. We all have masks. We've been taught in this world how to be what somebody else wants us to be. Our parents taught us to be good, or at least how they wanted us to be. School teaches us how they want us to be. Sports teams teach us how they want us to be. The opposite sex teaches us how they want us to be, how they view masculinity, how we view femininity. There's all kinds of different masks. Now, he wrote this one called The Mask of Masculinity because he's a male, right? Uh, if women read it, they could find their own masks and realize that we all have masks that we're living. We live masks of we saw, like, we live in Utah, right? And it's the home of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And for those of you that don't know much about it, or even those that you do, modesty is a big thing in the church. And so we were driving through Salt Lake the other day, and there's this big billboard that says modest, sexy clothing. Now, how do you have modest, sexy clothing? The whole point of modest is to not be sexual. And the whole point of sexuality is to be sexual, right? So you can't have modest sexuality or modest, sexy modest. It doesn't happen. And so we live in this world where we have all these crazy things going on, and we just go along believing it. So be yourself. Read The Masks of Masculinity. Find out what masks you're wearing. Find out how you're faking it till you make it. Find out why when you look in the mirror, you feel like a fraud. Been there. Doug Jr. once said, wrote a book even called All You Can Do Is All You Can Do. Now, who is Arthur Williams? Arthur Williams started his company in 1977. Became one of the richest men in the world in early 80s. Was one of the only 4 billionaires in the country. Now billion doesn't mean anything, but at that time it did. His claim to fame, other than being a billionaire, and it was creating more millionaires in his company than anybody else. Now, that maybe that's still true, maybe it's not still true. I think it's probably still true. But we know he wrote a book called All You Can Do Is All You Can Do, and All You Can Do Is Enough. Now, we know if we've done enough. We've inflated our percentages. Yes, I gave 120%. You know what? That's an impossibility. You can't give 120%. You can't get above excellent. You can't get in a 4-point system in school. You can't get a 4.7. You know, we're supposed to be authentic. We're supposed to be honest, and yet we lie to ourselves constantly. Quit it. That's all I got to say. Quit it. You know what I mean? And you know, and I know this is going to upset most people, but you know what? You don't have to watch it, which is cool, which is really what's great about YouTube. All right. And the reason this is coming up so soon is because I still owe Scott a whole bunch. And so you're probably going to get, unless he slows down, which he doesn't seem to be, you know, and that's a great thing. You know why? Because a lot of people that watch this will be in the same company as him, and they'll be, you know what? It's just not working. It just can't. No, guess what? Folks, grow up. It's time for us to realize that if we want it, we're going to have to go get it. The only way to the other side is through it. If you can't go over it and you can't go around it, you have to go through it. Unless you don't want what's on the other side. So find out what you can put on the other side that you're willing to go to. I am a certified firewalk instructor, which means back in the early 1995, I went to firewalk training school, walked over the coals 110 times in one night. Guess what? You can do anything on. Do it 3 years before Nike's, they were in an advertising thing. Wasn't even a shoe, wasn't even a person. They were in an advertising thing, and manager said to his employees, "Just do it." Stuck. So, folks.